c'est Sofia Coppola. Vous la connaissez pour ça, et elle revient avec Priscilla, un biopic sur Priscilla Presley qui se concentre sur toute la durée de leur couple avec Elvis Presley, de ses 14 à ses 28 ans.
Yeah, I just had the book around Elvis and me, Priscilla's memoir. It was just something kind of fun. And then a few years ago, I started reading it and I was really surprised by her story, and I knew so little about her. She's such a famous figure. The two of them are like a royal couple in America, and none of us know her story of what she went through. And I was struck by how much she reveals and how difficult it was for her. It looked like a perfect American dream, and she really had a hard time growing up. And also just that it was relatable. You know, your first kiss, or for me becoming a mother, and she talks about really human experiences but in this very exotic location. And when I read her story, I just thought that I would like to translate this into a movie and build the visual world and express her story. It was interesting and told a lot about what women went through at that time in the 60s in America.
She's much more mature than her age.
21!
22. That's 22.
I know that he's, revered as, he's the king of rock and roll. So, but I at the same time, I thought her voice was important, and it said a lot about women of that generation. So, I just focused on, I think her story deserves to be told, and I, try not to worry about, the other perceptions. And I tried to treat all the characters with sensitivity, and I admire Elvis as an artist, and it shows how he struggled, and just focused on this intimate portrait of their relationship and her story.
Black hair and more eye makeup.
I don't know if I like it.
Priscilla was involved in that. We spoke a lot about her story, and she let me ask her questions, and she went through the script, and it was very important to me that she feel that I told her story in a way that represents her and that she feels good about. So, and I felt lucky to have access to ask her all these questions. And then when we were filming, she didn't want to come to set. I think she wanted to give us the space to make our work, and she didn't want to make Kaylee nervous, so she didn't come. But then I showed her the film when it was finished, while I could still make changes to make sure that she was okay with it, and she was very moved by it. I was so nervous, and but she was really emotional and said, this is what my life was like, and so I felt like I did the job I wanted to do. She said that Kaylee really, she's like, wow, she expressed the feelings that I was feeling, and really this is what my life was like. So I felt like this is her story, and it's interesting, and we can all learn from other stories. And I think it's hard to fit a whole big life into one film, but I focused on the years at Graceland, of her arriving and her leaving, and it was sort of like Alice in Wonderland, and then we jump in time. We take liberties and are creative with the jumping in time, so that I hope it just gives an impression of what her life was like at that time. The estate wouldn't allow us to use their music. They weren't fans of it, but I just feel like I wanted to respect her story. I wanted to have a few Elvis songs. Originally, I had one for their wedding. He sang the Hawaiian love song to her, so I wanted to have that, but they didn't give us permission, but it was okay. I think because it's her story, it just focuses it more on her.
Konbini!